Hello, good morning, everyone. So, principle of biotechnology and concept of plant biotechnology. In this class, lecture one, we will discuss about the concept of plant biotechnology. What is actually the plant biotechnology? What is the significance to study? Why we need to study this plant biotechnology course in agriculture and agriculture graduations? We need to understand about the concept of plant biotechnology. So biotechnology, bio means living life. Technology means application of knowledge for the practical use. It means the use of living organism to make it improve for a product for the beneficial to the societies or human health. So bio means life, technology means application of the knowledge for the practical use. So that knowledge has to use to improve the any living organism to make the welfare of the societies. So the use of living organism to solve the problem or make useful product. So we can define biotechnology in another term also that use of living organism to solve the problem or make it useful to the product to the beneficial human beings. The use of cells and biological molecules to solve the problem or make useful products. The biological molecules that can include DNA, RNA, and protein. Another definition also that commercial application of living organism or their product, which involve a deliberate manipulation of their DNA molecule. Plant biotechnology can be defined as a make of living cells to perform a specific task in a predictable and controllable way. So stages of biotechnology development. If we talk about the ancient biotechnology, 8000 to 4000 BC, the history is related to the food and shelter, which include domestications of the different animals and plants. Likewise, in case of classical biotechnology, before 2000 BC, it built on ancient biotechnology, which deals with the fermentations or promoted food production and medicine. Similarly, in 1900 to 1953, we talk more and more about the genetics, inheritance, how a particular traits move from their parents to their progenies, and how a particular genes or trait is get expression, and how the expression get influenced by the environment. So all these things we will discuss about in genetics. 1953 to 1976, the DNA was discovered in 1953 as the double helical model was proposed by the Watson and Crick in 1953. So then afterwards, more and more talk discussion is going on about the DNA, RNA, and science explored all these things, decoding the genetic information from the DNA into the RNA. In modern biotechnology, that deal with more and more about recent plant biotechnology. So there are various technology and their uses we can discuss like genetic engineering that is dealing with the more and more about the DNA. Genetic engineering that is also known as recombinant DNA technology that uses the different cellular enzymes to manipulate the DNA which transferring DNA between the unrelated organisms. Okay. So in case of genetic engineering, engineering itself, we have to engineer the DNA based on our own choice. We can manipulate the sequence of the DNA. We can change a particular nucleotide in the DNA sequence on our choice to make a desirable product from that gene. Protein engineering technology, similarly, protein engineering technology improve the existing proteins so we can create the novel proteins to make the useful product to to the cells. Next is antisense or RNAi technologies. Antisense means which encode which produce a antisense RNA strand that is opposite to the sense strand that can block or decrease the production of certain proteins in the cells by make it double. Suppose a antisense RNA is generally produced from the sense strand and sense RNA or we can say that mRNA, which have genetic information that is encoded through the antisense strand of the DNA. Okay. So these both DNA get interhybrid with each other. Now the double stranded structure of the DNA get recognized by the a particular protein machinery that is degraded, that can decrease the production of the proteins. Cell, cell and tissue culture technologies, which grow cell tissue under laboratory condition to produce an entire organism, so it can produce a new product. Then next is bioinformatics. Bioinformatics is nothing but it's a computational approach, computational analysis of different biological data, high throughput profiling, data analysis, all these things we can discuss in bioinformatics. Next is functional genomics, omics approach. Omics means whole. We have to read everything about it. Functional genomics. We have to discuss. We have to study all the genomic sets, gene sets, genetic sets of a particular cell or organism. Functional genomics is the use of genome-wide high throughput approach to determine the biological functions of all the genes in their product. Application of biotechnology and genomics. In environmental biotechnology, we have to monitor the environment. So diagnosis of environmental problem by biotechnology also. Waste management through bioremediations. The use of different microbes to break down organic molecules or environmental pollutants. Phytoremediations. The use of plants to remove the pollutants like heavy metals from the environment. Pollution preventions through renewable sources, biodegradable products, etc. Medical biotechnology. In case of medical biotechnology, diagnostics, therapeutics, vaccination program, medical research tools, human genome research, agricultural biotechnology, animal biotechnology, crop biotechnology, horticultural biotechnology, tree biotechnology, food processing. So each and every aspects of the biotechnology imported in each and every field, like animals, we can improve the animal cells. Crop biotechnology, we can improve the crop. We can develop a particular crop choice based on different environmental conditions like drought resistance, nutrient enriched crop with the biotechnology. Horticultural crops can be improved through a biotechnological approach, like similarly tree and food processing. Evolutionary and ecological genomics. Finding the genes which associate with ecological traits, evolutionary diversifications, common roles, etc. So plant biotechnology or agricultural biotechnology. That is a process to produce genetically modified plants by removing the genetic information from an organism. Not exactly removing, by modifying also the genetic information from organism. Manipulating it in laboratory and then transferring it to desired plant to change certain of its characteristics. So what are the different traits can be improved in a crop? Herbicide tolerance that is currently cultivated across the globe. Pest resistance, BT cotton is the best example. Herbicide tolerance, glyphosate resistance, soybean, transgenic soybeans that is cultivated across the different countries like USA. Drought tolerant has been developed or not super cultivated in India. Nitrogen fixing ability, we can improve the nitrogen fixing ability of it particular. Acidity and salinity tolerance, nutritional value of the crop, improving food quality and safety, healthier cooking oil by decreasing the concentration of saturated fatty acid in the vegetable oils, functional food, the foods containing significant level of biological active component that can be impart health benefits also. Similarly, various technology applied in the plant biotechnology that can improve genetic engineering, recombinant DNA technology, tissue culture approach, molecular breeding to marker assisted selection. The manipulation of gene is called as genetic engineering. Manipulation of gene is known as genetic engineering. Recombinant DNA technology, which remove the genes from one organism, either they can transfer them into the another put them back in original with the different combinations, various gene transfer used in genetic engineering that can include agrobacterium-mediated gene transfer. Desired trait is isolated from the DNA of original organism that can insert it into agrobacterium target plant is infected. Cell that accept the DNA are grown into the plant with a new trait. Second, gene gun. DNA that codes for desired trait is coated into tiny particles of tungsten and fired into a group of plant cells. Cells that accept the DNA are grown into the plant with desired tissue culture. Tissue culture manipulates the cell and the pollen grains of other tissues. So they live for extended period under laboratory conditions or become whole, living, growing organism. Genetically engineered cells may be converted into genetically engineered organisms through tissue culture. Marker-assisted selections. Marker-aided selection, assisted selections, genetic analysis study DNA sequence to identify the genes, TTL quantitative trait loci, and other molecular markers and to associate them with organism functions. It means gene identifications, marker-aided selection is the identification and maintenance tracing of previously identified DNA fragments through a series of generations. So, a last application of biotechnology in agriculture was improvement. We can improve particular crop with resistance, increase resistance to pest and disease. Plants will build to tolerate environmental conditions, improve color and quality. Pharmaceuticals, plants that produce edible vaccines. In food, we can improve the taste and nutrition, improve handling qualities, industrial plant that produce plastics, fuels, and other products. Plant of environmental cleanup. In case of food, we can increase the milk productions, learn meat in pork, growth hormone in farm raised fish that result in early market ready fish. Animal engineered to produce human protein for the drug, which include insulin and vaccine. Breeding, disease tolerance, exact copy of desired stock, increased yield. Microzoa introduced into feed for beneficial purpose, diagnosis for disease and pregnancy, detections. History of biotechnology. First vaccinations and were genetic first from the cow. Pox lesions inserted into incision on a body arm. In 1830, proteins were discovered. 1833, first enzyme was discovered in isolated. 1865, Gregor John Mendel discovered the law of inheritance by studying flowers in his gardens and so genetic begins. Afterwards, 1915, phages were discovered. The phages virus that only infect the bacteria was discovered. 1944, DNA was proven to carry genetic information by Oswald Avery, Colin McCord McCarthy. Similarly, in 1953, James Watson, Francis Crick described the double helical structure of DNA. They shared the 1962 Nobel Prize in Medicine or Physiology with Warwick Wilkins. 1955, the amino acid sequence of insulin is discovered by Frederick Sanger. DNA was made in a test tube for first time. Sickle cell disease was shown to occur due to changing one amino acid. In 1971, the first complete synthesis of gene occurs. Discovery of restriction enzyme that cut and splice genetic material very specifically occurred. This opened the way for gene cloning. Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer developed perfect genetic engineering techniques to cut and paste DNA using restriction enzyme. George Kohler and Elston developed the technology to produce monoclonal antibodies. Highly specific purified antibody derived from only one clone of cells which occupies only one antigen. In 1981, the first transgenic animals produced by transferring the gene from other animals to the mice. Similarly, in 1983, PCR, polymerase chain reaction technique, which can unlimited copies of genes convert conceived carriers. First recombinant vaccine is approved for human use. Hepatitis B cryogenetically modified food plants, viral resistant tomato 1994. First ever field test for genetically modified food plants, viral resistant tomato. Genetically modified tomato are sold in the US for human consumption. In 1990s, the Human Genome Project, international effort to map all the genes in human, was launched. 2002, the draft version of Human Genome is yet published. 1997, scientists reported the birth of Dolly, first animal clone from adult cells. 1998, human embryonic stem cells line were established. SARS, 2006 SARS, that is severe acute respiratory syndrome, was sequenced 3 weeks after its discovery. 2004, the first clone pet kitten was delivered to its owner. She was called Copycat. Copycat CC for the short. In 2006, a recombinant vaccine against human papillomavirus received FDA approval. Thank you. So friends, good morning. So next class is test tube fertilization, endosperm culture, factor affecting in vitro cultures, application and achievement. So test tube fertilization. What is test tube fertilization? Why we need test tube fertilization? What is the need? Why or how we can perform this process? So sometimes you must be seen that there are some certain crops which are sexually incompatible. But other than sexually incompatible, there is a protocol that sometimes the pollen of a, in a particular plant species is not able to germinate on the stigma of the female plants. So in that case, we need to go test tube fertilizations. So this in vitro fertilization or test tube fertilization can take place in three different ways. Sorry guys, power is gone, so you should wait for some time. So in vitro fertilization can take place in three different ways, like stigma fertilization, placental fertilization, fertilization of an isolated ovule without a placenta. So in vitro fertilization can be used in the following cases. First is placental pollination is sometimes possible when the plants are completely self-incompatible in vivo. Example, Petunia axillaris, Petunia hybrids. So process fertilization may be possible in vitro even if it impossible in vivo. Hybrid plants after test tube fertilization of ovule of Nicotiana elata with pollen from Nicotiana tabacum. Intergeneric process can also be achieved in vitro, as seen with different members of the Caryophyllaceae. For this family, it has been seen that pollen grains germinate better with placental fertilization in vitro than on stigma in vivo. Production of haploids by parthenogenesis, another aspects of the in vitro fertilizations. So parthenogenesis, you know very well, parthenogenesis is nothing but it's a sexual reproduction, production of fruits without sexual reproductions. The abscission of flower or ovary is sometimes unavoidable. In such cases, stigma fertilization may be effective. To study the physiology of fertilizations and endosperm culture. So endosperm culture, callus induction from endosperm. During the early period of endosperm culture, there was difficulty in establishing callus induction from the mature endosperm. So when we are going to culturing a cell, we need to establish a relationship that leads ultimately the growth of callus. In case of indirect embryogenesis, we need to develop the callus. In establishing callus induction from mature endosperm, of late successfully regeneration of the triploid plantlet are being achieved. The process of regeneration may be direct from the endosperm of a callus stage. Then the morphogenesis of endosperm occurs. The incidence of organogenesis from the fish in form but all over the surface of endosperm. Apart from that, organogenesis also follows the pathway by chaos phase, that is in the protocol. Then the formation of two all response to high studies on cytokine revealed that cytokine alone was more effective in combination with the oxime. Then there was no differentiation in absence of cytokine. But cytokinin is not always necessary to reduce the blood formation from normal tissue. So there are applications of endosperm culture that form expectation of the studies. Experimental systems is of time. Systems show great promise in the metabolism and differentiation. The triploidy can be exploited in different crops like apple, banana, mulberry, sugar beet, tea, watermelon. Whereas the seeds are not of commercial importance of these crops. In some plants, which is especially in chronically propagated one triploid are superior to the diploid, giving better pulp goods. Since these plants can be propagated vegetatively, seed sterility is not a severe setback. In case of conventional method of triploid production, processes are made between phototetraploids and diploid. Sometimes this process may not be successful, causing difficulty in triploid productions. Again, there is some factor which influencing the morphogenetic process, like genotype, type of explant or source of explant, growth regulators means combination of different growth regulators like auxin cytokinin. That ratio will determine the either sweet growth or good growth of the plant. Composition of nutrient media, then other additive agents, then culture environment, then other application and achievements of endosperm culture. Macro propagation of plant propagations, production of virus free plant, rejuvenations, plant material, somagon variations, gene transformations, somatic hybridization, production of secondary metabolite, and the culture, embryo rescue. So this is all about the endosperm culture. Thank you. Hello, good morning everyone. So again in the series of course principle of plant biotechnology. So today we are going to discuss about the ovule culture and embryo culture. That is lecture number 6. So we need to understand about the concept of ovule culture. What is ovule culture? And then later on we will see about the embryo culture. And ovule is the female reproductive organ part that is generally used to culturing the immature ovules to produce developed plants. So culturing of a immature ovule is again resorted to in case where pollination is successful, but in certain cases or in certain region of incompatibility, the seeds do not get developed beyond a certain stage. That is because of different regions. There may be environmental region, there may be sex incompatibility in the plant species. So the protocols can succeed only if at least a few days a plant has been elapsed after fertilization. So depending upon when the embryo gets aborts, the Ovule has to be excised at any time, from soon after fertilizations to almost developed fruits, which may sometimes be lost due to premature abscissing in case of fruits, plant, or horticultural crops. For a variety of different interspecific or intergeneric crosses, which involve a member of families like Malvaceae, Fabaceae, Cruciferae, Solanaceae, etc. Ovule, after fertilization, have been successfully cultured embryo or seed directly, that is used to produce the mature embryo that afterwards, if provide favorable condition in case of tissue culture, it will convert into the complete plant. So if we see some example of ovule culture in orchids, Nemoto and Sagawa, they are two scientists, Nemoto and Sagawa, in 1961, what the first orchids. According to them, the seeds could be taken out from culturing only after 55 days after pollination. But in Israel, 1963, the reports have been taken the seeds out of the ovaries 7 days after pollination and cultured them to the at earliest seedling stage. So there are some genera like Cyperpedium, Papillopedium, removed from the before the germination. Then only afterward the germination gets occurred. Culturing of the ovule before the seed coat is developed fully, which give higher percentage of germination. In such cases, the immature pod is sterilized, cut open with a sterilized knife, and the seed is scooped out, put in a vial containing distilled water. It is shaken well and seeds sown to come in direct contact with the seeds. So next is ovarian embryo culture. Culturing of unfertilized ovaries to obtain a haploid plants from the egg cell or other haploid cells of embryo sac is called as ovary culture. So main objective behind to culturing the ovaries to get the haploid plant instead of diploid plant. While in case of other cells, if we are going to culture them on the tissue culture media, that will give you the double haploid plants. Okay, haploid plants means a plant cell which contain a single set of the chromosome in their nucleus. But in case of double haploid, they contain the two sets of the each chromosomal material. These are the reproductive cells. Like as I told you in earlier lectures, that we can take macrospore, pollen, or anther culture to get haploid plants. Similarly, from female reproductive organ, we can take ovaries to get to produce the haploid cells of embryo sac. It's called as ovary culture. This process is termed as gynogenesis. While in case of androgenesis, the pollen or anther should be cultured. As Noem was first reported the gynogenesis in barley in 1976. The one important aspect of ovary culture is the Noem. Noem was the first scientist who reported this protocol, that gynogenesis in barley crop. Subsequently, the success has been obtained in several species which include wheat, rice, maize, tobacco, sugar beet, rubber, etc. About 0.2 to 6% of cultured ovaries show gynogenesis, and 1 or 2, rarely up to the 8 plant cells originate from each ovaries. So, embryo culture. In angiosperm, the embryo is the miniature sporophytes which resulting from the fertilized egg or zygote. In seed-bearing plants, embryos are easily accessible as they can be separated with relative ease from the maternal tissue and culture in vitro under aseptic condition in media of known chemical compositions. The culture of embryo has been practiced by the plant breeders for over half a century. That was the first systematic attempt to grow the embryo of angiosperm in vitro under aseptic condition, which was made by the Henning, who cultured the mature embryo of Raphanus, the conifers Cochlearia. Subsequently, many work raised the plants by cutting embryo excised from the mature seeds. Further progress has been made in the field of embryo culture, which is provided by the Lebeck in 1925, who demonstrated the most important practical application of these techniques. What they did, they crossed the lineum perennium with the lineum ostricum but they obtain finally the hybrid seeds of the very light and shriveled nature without any germinability. So there are some factors which affect the success of this embryo culture. First is genotype, means what kind of genotype or gene sets have seeds. So genotype, developmental stage of the embryo at isolation. So what exactly which stage plant is growing when we are going to discard the embryo or we are going to isolate the embryo, then developmental stage is mattering. Growth condition of the mother plants, that is also important aspect that affect the success of embryo culture. Then composition of nutrient media, that is the important aspects. If we change the single ratio of a particular hormone like oxygen secretin cytokinin, then it will matter, it will affect the growth of embryo culture. So there is practical utility of embryo culture is embryo rescue in bite process. Sometimes you must be observed that when we are going to take the bite process, perform bite process, then at that time the most common problem is embryo rescue. Means embryo will not survive because they are not sexually compatible species. So the embryo has to be rescued. Monoploid production. Obviously, when we are going to culturing the ovules, then its main objective is in, by the process of gynogenesis is monoploidy, means haploid productions. Overcoming seed dormancy, obviously uh, giving advantage over the overcoming seed dormancy. Can overcome the seed dormancy means there are some seeds which keep dormant for a longer period of time. When directly we are going to cultivate or culture the seeds on the tissue culture media, then they need not to break the seed dormancy. Shortening the breeding cycles of the plants, then combining the embryo culture and back crossing in gene transfer. So this is all about today's class. Thank you. Good morning, guys. So next chapter is micropropagation, anther culture, and pollen culture. So micropropagation, if we need to understand the detailed concept of micropropagation is multiplication of genetically identical copies. Multiplication of a particular cell into different identical copies. Or we have to produce quickly large number of copies. Multiplication of identical copies of a cultivar by the asexual reproduction is called as clonal propagation or micropropagation. Macropropagation is nothing but it's a type of asexual reproduction. Okay, so identical copies we can produce in a short time. Very large number of identical copies we can produce for multiplication either this by using this micropropagation technology. In nature, clonal propagations occurs by apomixis. Apomixis means seed development without meiosis and fertilizations. Apomixis means seed development without meiosis and fertilizations. And or vegetative propagations, the regeneration or regeneration of new plant varieties from vegetative part. Vegetative plant part. So there are a lot of explant which is used for the micro propagations. Explant nothing but it's the excised plant portions that is used to initiate the tissue culture process is known as the culturing process, the explant. There are different kinds of explant were used in micro propagations. For example, in case of orchids, shoot tip, Anacamptis, pyramidalis, Aranthera, Calanthe, Dendrobium, axillary but also used in case of Aranda, Presso, Atelia, Lilia. Similarly, inflorescence segment also being used as explant in micropropagation like Aranda, Escoffinetia. Lateral bud also used in case of Rhinocostialis. Leaf base in case of Catalia. Leaf tip, Catalia, epidendrum. Similarly, shoot tip, Cymbidium, Dendrobium, nodal segment, Dendrobium. Similarly, flower stalk segment by Dendrobium and root tip Neotia are being used in micropropagation. So there are different stages if in case of micropropagation. If we are using micropropagation for the multiplication, then we have to follow some steps. That is first is preparative stage, then initiation of the culture, then multiplication. Next stage is rooting of shoot, then transplantation. So first is preparative stage. In the preparative stage, what we need to do, we have to select a healthy mother plant for the explant. Means we have to select a healthy explant to initiate the culturing process. That explant should be first cleaned, washed with the water. Then we have to wash it with different antimicrobial agents, okay, like hypochlorine. Means we have to sterilize the explant. Then initiation of the culture. Then accordingly, what type of tissue plant, what is the age of the tissue explant. Based on all the parameters, we have to prepare the culture media. Then initiation of the culture media. Then we have to place the healthy explant on the culture media very carefully. So there should not be any kind of what we can contamination of different microbial like bacteria, virus, fungi should not be there. Then we have to provide the favorable condition to the culture media for the proper growth to callus development. Then after callus development, we have to multiply it. Stage two is multiplication. We have to multiply either in suspension culture or through solid media also. Means we have to start the subculturing of the callus. So we can multiply based on our choice, based on requirement. We can multiply the tissue callus. The next step is rooting of the shoe. Then based on the hormone ratio, like suppose we have earlier applied the high cytokinin to low oxygen, then it start to development the shoot. Then after shoot development, we have to change the hormonal ratio, Trantos regulatory ratio. Means we have to give low cytokinin, high oxygen. Then it lead to the rooting of the shoots. Okay. Then transplantation. Then when root is get developed fully, then we have to transplant this plant from culture media to soil. That is known as transplantation. Okay, these are the few steps of macropropagation. Then advantages of macropropagation. First is clonal mass propagation or clonal mass multiplication. Extremely large number of the plants can be produced rather than getting 10,000 plants per year from an initial cutting in vegetative propagations. One can obtain more than 10 lakhs of the plants per year from initial explants through micropropagations. So you can assume that more than 10 lakhs of the plants we can produce. Culture is initialized from the small parts of the plants, so no need of much space. From 1 meter to space in culture room, then 20,000 to 1 lakh plants can be produced every year. Production of disease and virus-free plant rate also. This leads to the simplification and exchange of the plants. And micropropagation never grow increase the production of plant that normally propagate very slowly, such as narcissus and other bulbosum crops. Introduction of disease-free new cultivars is possible through micropropagation. Then vegetative micropropagation of sterile hybrids can be used as parent plant for seed production, like cabbage. One of the rapid method for clonal propagation is used as plant plate for the seed productions. Example, cabbage. One of the rapid method for cloning of disease species. In vitro culture can be stored for long time through cryopreservation. The breeding cycle can be shortened by using this micropropagations. So this is the concept of micropropagation and micro clonal propagations. So next is anther culture or microspore and pollen culture. If our aim is to produce the haploid plant, then we have to go for the anther culture, microspore culture, or pollen culture. Then the development of numerous pollen plantlet in anther culture, like Datura inoxia, first reported by two Indian scientists, that is Goa and Maheshwari. was the major breakthrough in haploid printing or higher plant rate. This technique of haploid production through anther culture or anther androgenesis, this process of haploid production through anther culture is known as androgenesis. It has been extended to the numerous other plant species, which include the cereals, vegetables, oil, and tree species also. But it was initially reported by Guha and Maheshwari into Datura, Datura enoxia. So you have to remember this historical discovery, that is Datura enoxia was the first plant plate in which haploid plant production has been developed through anther culture, pollen culture by the Guha and Maheshwari. There are other anthers may be taken from plant growth in a field or in plots. But ideally, these plants should be grown under controlled temperature, light, and humidity. Often, the capacity for haploid productions decline with the age of donor plants. Flower bud of the appropriate development stages are collected. In surface sterilization, other anthers are excised and placed horizontally on culture media. Anther of barley obtained at proper stage of development, gently macerated to obtain a suspension of pollen grains. After removing the debris by repeated filtrations and centrifugations, the suspension was layered on 30% sucrose solution and centrifuged at 1200 grams for 5 minutes. So the culturing is very important. In case of tissue culture, anther culture or pollen culture leads to development of haploid productions. That was a landmark discovery in the case of tissue culture. The androgenic vacuolated pollen grains formed a band at top of sucrose solutions. The isolated pollen culture is not only more efficient but also more convenient than the other anther cultures. The tedious process of dissection of anther is avoided. Next, entire word within a suitable size range are crushed and embryogenic grains are then separated by gradient centrifugation. This is the basic representation of the haploid productions through anther culture. So you can see from the plant, you have to isolate the anther of pollen that has to place on artificial culture media. Okay, then we have to wait for some time. It will develop into the embryo. The embryo will lead develop into the haploid plantlet, or that is known as direct embryogenesis. In case of indirect, first we need to develop the callus. The callus will lead to development of haploid plant, so either shooting or rooting. So this is the very simple representation of the haploid plant for anther culture. Microscope culture, the ideal culture system for production of haploid in isolation and culture of microscope after separation from anther wall tissue. So you can see the microscope means the haploid in isolation and culture of microscope after separation from anther. From the anther, we first need to isolate the microscope. Then microscope individually will be cultured onto the culture media. Then it will lead to development of plants. Thank you.